Although the boys' bodies have not been found, the prosecution has said that evidence, including interviews with the West's other children, indicates the boys were killed in September of 2020, 3 months before the West reported them missing. The West are charged with second-degree murder, involuntary manslaughter, and other offenses and face life terms in prison if convicted.
April 19, 2023. The trial for Jacqueline and Trezell West is back in session. The next witness called to the stand is Ralph Mosley. Mosley is the biological father of Cinsere Pettus, the birth name of Orrin West. Mosley said he was advised by a court that his son was being adopted and he was told his parental rights were being terminated. Mosley says the first time he learned of the boys' disappearance was after seeing it on the news. He says he called his mom as he felt there was nothing he could do. Mosley says he did go to Cal City maybe 2 or 3 days after learning of their disappearance. He went with his family and wife. Once he got there, Mosley said he saw people giving interviews. He said he began helping with one of the searches. He said while he was there, he never made contact with Trezell or Jacqueline. He had never been to Cal City before this, Mosley said. Prosecutor Eric Smith asked if Mosley has any family members with the name or nickname of TT. Mosley said no. Smith has asked several witnesses this now. So far, no one has confirmed a relative with this name or nickname. Mosley had a DNA swab taken by Bakersfield police. Smith finished his questioning by asking if Mosley ever went to Cal City to take the boys. Mosley said no. Defense attorney Alexia Torres-Stallings is beginning her cross. She asked Mosley if any of Mosley's belongings were ever seized by the police. He said none. Mosley corrects his earlier statement that when he had family members who went to Cal City to look for the boys, he meant people he is close to, friends who he considers like family. Torres-Stallings asked if any of those individuals had gone to Cal City before. Mosley said he's not sure. Mosley said that the search wasn't really a search. They just started walking around. Mosley said the last time he saw Cinsere Pettus was maybe 2018 or 2017, immediately after he took a paternity test. He said this was the only time he'd ever seen the child. Torres-Stallings has concluded her questioning. Timothy Hennessy is now questioning the witness. Hennessy asked Mosley whether he knew the boys had had their names changed after being adopted. He did not. Hennessy has concluded his questioning. Mosley has been excused. The next witness is Maria del Carmen Noreaga Salas. She is using a Spanish interpreter. Salas lives in Casa Loma Apartments. She has lived there for over 10 years. Smith is asking Salas about the evening of September 19, 2020. She remembers that day because her daughter was leaving for Massachusetts and they were cleaning all weekend, even late into the night. Smith asked Salas what she observed around 11 p.m. that night. Salas says she was cleaning the apartment when her son-in-law told her a friend would be stopping by to pick up furniture. Salas said she heard a really loud noise next to the dumpster right outside the apartment. She said it sounded like someone dumped something in the dumpster and it made a loud noise. She said she walked outside and saw a couple come out from where the dumpster was. Smith asked what Salas could recall about the couple. She said the man had dark skin and was tall and thin. She said the woman light skinned with curly wavy hair, reaching down to about her mid-arm. Smith asked if they were carrying anything. Salas said she saw them carrying an ice chest. They were both carrying it by the handles. Salas tries to demonstrate how large she believes the chest was. Judge Charles Brenner measures with a tape measure. Judge Brenner says it's around 21 inches in width. Salas said when the couple was walking, the woman looked directly at her. She said they walked across the street and got on the curb, walking slowly. She heard them speaking in English and laughing loudly. Smith asked if she saw where to they walked. Salas says they walked the sidewalk for a bit, stopped, looked at her, then continued walking. Salas said they turned into another street next to the apartments before going inside. She said they then came out right away and Salas noticed they grabbed something skinny and the man placed it on his shoulder. She said they continued walking towards a grassy area and turned a corner. Salas said the time they spent inside the apartment was quickly, maybe only 3 or 4 minutes at most. When they exited the apartment, they were by themselves, Salas said. Smith is showing a map of the Casa Loma apartments. Salas is describing where the daughter lived and where she saw the couple walking that night. Salas said maybe the officers didn't understand her, or maybe it wasn't translated correctly, but she's sure she saw the couple's faces. Rodriguez asked if Salas remembers telling officers that she wouldn't be able to recognize the couple she saw that night. Salas said no, she's sure. Rodriguez is now showing Salas the report officers made regarding her interview in January 2021. The report says that she told officers she could not recognize the couple from that night. Now, 3 years later, you're saying you can, Rodriguez said. Salas was the one to reach out to law enforcement in January 2021. Rodriguez asked if Salas remembers telling law enforcement her daughter had a Ring camera on her apartment. When all this happened, I called her in Massachusetts and said, check the cameras, Salas said. Her daughter didn't have any video from that night. Salas had been on the phone when she saw the couple in September 2020. She told police that after the call was disconnected, she pretended to continue talking on the phone. Rodriguez asked about a prior hearing where Salas was shown photos of Trezell and Jacqueline West. During the hearing, Salas said the man she saw the night of September 19, 2020 had a lighter complexion. Salas said when the light hit him, he looked lighter. During the hearing, Salas said the woman in the photo had a fuller face than the woman she saw that night. Rodriguez has finished her cross. Smith is beginning his redirect. He asked Salas about being shown images in a previous hearing. Salas did say the woman's face was a little fuller, but the people she saw on TV were the same people she saw that night. She watched the interview on the news. She said she identified the couple from what she saw on the news as the same couple from that night. Smith concluded his redirect. Rodriguez asked again if Salas remembers telling law enforcement she saw 2 black people that night. Just to be clear, you don't remember saying you saw a black male and a black female? Rodriguez asked. No, Salas said. Rodriguez offers to show a transcript of what Salas told law enforcement in January 2021. Smith objected. Judge Brimmer called for a sidebar. Judge Brimmer is allowing the transcript to be read by the interpreter and translate the highlighted portion to Salas. Salas responded to the interpreter by just saying no. Salas said the reason she said 2 black people may have been she was nervous. Rodriguez says, so the reason you lied and said 2 black people was because you were nervous? Salas says, yes. Smith asked for another sidebar. The jury is asking the judge regarding something Salas was telling the interpreter before being interrupted by Rodriguez. It was regarding Salas saying she wanted to get something off her chest. Salas says that night has stayed with her and she remembers it very well because she felt fear. She said it didn't sit well with her, that she sensed something wasn't right. Rodriguez has no further questions. Salas has been excused. Court is taking a 15-minute recess. Court is back in session. The next witness called to the stand is Laura Aguirre. Aguirre said the previous witness, Maria Salas, called her that night in September 2020, telling her to stay on the phone. Aguirre said Salas told her she saw someone throwing something away in the dumpster and she was scared. Aguirre said Salas told her to stay on the phone with her because she had a bad feeling. Aguirre said she tried to calm her, telling her it was no big deal. Smith is showing the diagram of the Lotus Lane apartment complex. Aguirre was living in the apartments as well at the time. Smith shows a picture of Trezell. Aguirre said she remembers seeing him around the apartments, always with a stick in his hand. She said she didn't see him very often. She'd only see him walking with a stick in his hand, throwing diapers away. When shown a photo of Jacqueline, she said she didn't remember seeing her. When she saw news reports about Orrin and Orson missing, Aguirre said she was shocked. She said she remembers Maria calling her crying, saying it was the couple that she saw by the dumpster in September 2020. Smith asked Aguirre if she ever saw the West vehicle. She said she remembers them having a van. She said they would usually park it in the vacant area, not their own parking space. Aguirre said she would sometimes see Trezell walk to the van when she was walking her dog. She said she never really paid much attention. Aguirre has shown an aerial map where she believed the couple lived and where they would have the van parked. Aguirre said they would park next to Jacqueline's mom, Maria Martinez's apartment. She said everyone knew that Maria was a foster mom. Smith is finished. Rodriguez is beginning cross, asking if Aguirre remembers telling Salas that people are always by the dumpster making noise. She said yes. Rodriguez finished her cross by asking if the only time Aguirre would see Trezell is when she walked her dog. She said yes. Timothy Hennessy is now beginning cross. He's asking about the dumpsters and the call with Salas. She said during the call, Aguirre just tried to tell her to calm down. She was overreacting. Hennessy asked about after seeing a news coverage of the missing boys. Hennessy clarifies that when Salas was there in September, she was only there to visit her daughter. She said yes. Hennessy finished by asking that the only reason Aguirre was shocked was when she saw the news coverage and then Salas called her. She said yes. Aguirre has been excused. The next witness is Alfredo Biyaca, who works at the Kern County Crime Lab. Biyaca began his testimony yesterday. Smith is showing images Biyaca took of the West van. Photos showing the interior of the van show car seats within the van. Smith asked if any of the car seats were seized. Biyaca says they did not seize any evidence at that time. Other photos show the contents from the front driver's side, the front passenger area, the front console, the rear hatch area, the front console, the rear hatch area, and the floor. Biyaca said they were instructed to look for pools of blood, any sign of foul play, or any receipts. He said they did not find any receipts. As far as blood, he believes his partner was the one spraying for blood. He said they used a Kastle-Meyer test and a Blue Star test. He said the KM tests were both negative. He said the Blue Star test brought back very small reactions at the front of the van, so they didn't collect them. They did not collect fingerprints from the van. Biyaca said they were already aware that the boys had in fact been in the van in the past, so he said collecting fingerprints wouldn't have been probative. Smith is finished. Tori Stallings is beginning her cross. Biyaca says his partner was taking notes and writing the report. He said they were processing the van after hours. After referring the report, he says the van came in December 23, 2020 around 4:30 p.m. He says they were notified beforehand. The van had been driven by a Cal City police officer. He says they were given a synopsis of what was happening in the investigation. Biyaca says he doesn't recall if at the time they were told that the department didn't think the children ran away. Biyaca says again, since it was a family vehicle, the amount of fingerprints and DNA in the van were probative. They were instructed to look for large pools of blood. Tori Stallings asked if they removed the actual cushions and seats in the van while processing it. Biyaca said they did not. They only removed the car seats while processing the van. Biyaca said it took a little more than 3 hours to process the van. Biyaca is explaining how a Kastle-Meyer's test works. He said it doesn't confirm the presence of blood, but if they find something they believe could be blood, they swab it, place it in the solution, and it would change to pink. He said this test was negative. Tori Stallings asked about looking for receipts in the van. Biyaca said that they were looking for foul play. He said while they found receipts, the officer they showed them to said there was nothing probative to the investigation. Tori Stallings is showing an image of one of the passenger doors. The window has a number of fingerprint smudge marks. None of these fingerprints were lifted for testing. An image of the front passenger belongings shows a diaper. Tori Stallings asked if Biyaca remembers if the diaper was used. He did not remember. It was not seized. Another image shows baby wipes. These were not seized. Tori Stallings finished her cross. Hennessy is now beginning his cross, asking about the Kastle-Meyer test. It's not a confirmation of blood, but presumptive. Same with Blue Star. If either of these tests show a positive, the next step would be to swab and test at a lab for blood. Hennessy asked if this means there could be false positives. Biyaca said correct. Hennessy has no further questions. Biyaca is excused. The trial is in recess for the day. It will not resume until Tuesday, April 25th at 9 a.m.